What is up, guys and ghouls? This is Andy coming to you on a Friday. I think today's like Cinco de Mayo, right? It is? Well, if that's the case, you go get yourself one of those margaritas where they got like the salt on the whole rim. What's the purpose of those? Is that just aesthetic? Or are you supposed to take a sip and lick some of the salt simultaneously because it enhances the drink? I really don't know, but go ahead, make yourself one of those. Make yourself a strawberry daiquiri, horn the rim with a little bit of salt, and then do the most Cinco de Mayo thing known to man and watch a winter sport in ice hockey that's taking place over multiple Canadian cities at the moment. One of those Canadian cities is Toronto. That's engaged in a somewhat of a ruckus series, one could say. They find themselves down 2-0. Fortunately, we were on the right side of that game with the both teams over 1.5 goals. Florida plus 2.5. 2 straight games of that bet. 2 straight games of that bet being correct. And thankfully, that's what you need to hit bets during these playoffs. You need wacky bets that are meant for these wacky playoffs. Because don't kid yourself, these playoffs have been absolutely wacky. And then in the other game, Dallas, they evened up the series. That kind of looked like their last series. Game 1 was a toss-up that they should have won, lost in overtime, and then they controlled that game 2 pretty nicely, pretty comfortably. You saw Ottinger do what he was supposed to do. Stayed under 6.5. First game wasn't under. You're going to see the unders start to trickle forward, and that's what you're going to see in some of my bets today. You're going to see some unders. You're going to see some plus 2.5. Plus 2.5 is going to be my magic number to stable the chaos that has been going on in these playoffs. You want to look for every way to mitigate risk, and you want to know how you can do that the best way? Go to Caesars Sportsbook, because your first bet is going to be risk-free up to $1,250. So you create a new account. You bet $1,250 on whatever you like tonight. You lose? Oh my God. But no, you got $1,250 waiting in your account and free bet credits as long as you're a new user on the platform. Over 21, you need that real ID, and sports betting is permitted in that state. And if you have a problem, what are you doing, man? Just call 1-800-GAMBLER. They're really nice. They're not going to be a mean guy on the other side of the line. It's going to be a nice guy who answers the phone on 1-800-GAMBLER, which is who you should be calling if you have a gambling problem. So there are 2 games, a couple of game 2s. Edmonton looking to not go down 2-0. Carolina looking to go up 2-0 at home. That's what they did in the last series. And that number, plus 2.5, the one that has somewhat blessed us in that Florida season, I'm looking for that number in both of these games. I'm looking for plus 2.5s, and I'm going to have to do a little digging. I have to do a little construction work to find how I can get plus 2.5s. And it's actually not too difficult for me in both of these games because the Devils, I believe, maybe I'm off by 1 game, but by hook or by crook, another saying I have no clue where that came from, by hook or by crook. I'm assuming that you ready for, I like taking random guesses at where sayings came from. Now don't go look it up right away. Have fun for a moment in your life and think about, okay, well, what is by hook or by crook? My guess is it has to do with fishing hundreds of years ago. Well, I'm going to get that fish for you, honey, by hook or by crook. I'm going to sail my fishing line out there and wrangle one of these marlins, or I'm stealing it from the boat next to us. By hook or by crook, I'm getting you that marlin. And by hook or by crook, I'm going to find plus 2.5s. So in the first game, what I meant to say was by hook or by crook, the Devils games in the previous series and last game, by hook or by crook, they all stayed under 6.5. If you can remember, we took the under 6.5 and we paired it with the over 2.5 shots for Jack Eichel. That one hit, but all those Ranger Devils games, unless I'm forgetting one, all stayed under 6.5. And then obviously game 1 stayed under 6.5. But you're thinking, wait a minute, what about all those beating? Didn't the Rangers beat them down a couple times? Didn't the Devils get beat down last game? Yeah, but it was all 5-1s. They never went over 6.5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go under 6.5 in this one. And I'm going to take the Carolina Hurricanes, the home team, at plus 2.5. Now, probably just because I've been in a daze, I don't know how I couldn't have seen game 1 going the way it did. A structured, disciplined team in Carolina who's been waiting a couple days, playing against a speed skill team who's susceptible to the counter and turnovers. I mean, that's Carolina 101. I don't know how I couldn't have seen that coming. And it's not going to be like the Rangers series where, okay, our skill and speed is just going to get back into it. Carolina has a good enough amount of speed. They're pretty relentless on the forecheck. They create turnovers. Devils, a young, skill-based team, are prone to turnovers. And I think if Carolina gets a lead in this game once again, they're going to shut it down defensively. They're going to make it extremely hard to get chances. I know the Islanders are a different team, but in many of those games last year, once they had a lead late in the game was over. I mean, the game one was 2-1 after one. That's just how it ended. And you always have that possibility from Carolina. If this one were to go over 6 goals, it's probably because, like last game, Carolina gets up to a big lead, but rather than holding the Devils to 1, maybe the Devils get 2 or something like that. But I think if Carolina's up like 3-1 late in the game, you're just going to see them lock it down. They want to get a 2-0 lead in this series and really give themselves a commanding lead. I don't think they're going to take chances to go up 4-1, 5-1. I think they're going to play very disciplined, and especially if they have a lead. So I'm going to go under 6.5 in the game, and then plus 2.5 for Carolina. It's not going to be easy for the Devils to score goals. So that's why I like the under, and that's why I like getting 2 goals on Carolina. And I know you're probably thinking, like, what is it? Is that going to give me like a minus 200 bet? That's ridiculous. It's not that bad. It's minus 155. And the way these playoffs are going, just be happy to get anything at a decent price. That seems like a good bet. And as far as players in that game, Seth Jarvis is the guy who really has stepped up in the absence of all those forwards. Everyone was thinking it was going to be Natchez. It seems to be Seth Jarvis. He's got a hot stick. He's feeling good about it. I would like him to register a point, getting a decent price at it. You can obviously take Aho or take Burns. I like those 3 guys if I'm going to take any. But then a little strategic sniff. This is something that's been happening for 2 straight playoffs. Bet against the players who the stall line is shutting down. They shut down, once they shut down that Bergeron line in home games, Bergeron, Pasternak, and Marchand, that's it. You have me as a buyer for life. They shut down Barzal, Horvat line for the most part with Andersley. And now you have the Jack Hughes line, shut them down in game 1. Yes, I would like to take the under on Jack Hughes point. Like if you're on Bet365, go ahead and take Carolina plus 1.5 and add that with Jack Hughes not to register a point. That will give you fat plus money. But what I feel even more comfortable about is taking one of his less skilled line mates like Andre Palat, who's also going to have to deal with that shutdown line but doesn't have that ability to overcome it potentially like Jack Hughes on the power play, who might be able to snake a point that way. So I'll take the under 0.5 a point for Andre Palat in that one. Then I'm going to re-up what I did last game. Under 6.5 goals, like I told you, Devils always finding themselves in under 6.5 by hook or by crook. And then give me the Jack Eichel over 2.5 shots again. We hit that last time. I think once again we're going to hit that this time. As you saw when Jack Eichel scored that empty net goal, the series means a little. I noticed when he was on the ice with Connor McDavid, he made it a point to try to keep up with him stride for stride on the defensive side. It seems like he's going a little out of his way. Or, I mean, look, he should always be giving the extra effort. But because of the comparisons between them being drafted 1 and 2, you're seeing a good effort from Jack Eichel, and he hit the shot total rather early in the last game. I'm expecting him to go over 2.5 shots once again. So I'll go under 6.5 in the first game with the Jack Eichel 3+ shots. And then in that game, I want another team at plus 2.5. I'm going to go both teams over 1.5. And then the Vegas Golden Knights, the home team, looking to go up 2-0 at plus 2.5. Now, typically, I obviously like focusing on unders. Unders. But there's kind of 2 glitch series on that front. You have the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Panthers. Although they've been in 2 straight unders, it's kind of because the goalies have been standing on their head a little bit, especially Bobrovsky in the last game. And then Edmonton is just the ultimate glitch with that power play, like the best power play in the history of the game. So I can't really take unders with them just yet. But don't kid yourselves. If there's a closeout game in Game 6 or Game 7, I will even go under in that one. But for the time being, early in the series, the way that power play operates, I'm going both teams over 1.5. We know Vegas has multiple lines they can score now that Stone is healthy, and they got Stone, Stevenson. I mean, that's their 3rd line right now. They have multiple waves that can come at you. I like getting them at plus 2.5 on their home ice. So I'll go both teams over 1.5. Vegas plus 2.5. And those are the picks that I got for you here on a Friday. Good luck to you. Better luck to me. I'll be back with you on Monday. I got to help my brother do some moving over the weekend, which is always a miserable experience. Hopefully, I'll be here on Monday to shoot that for you. If not, I'll have to do an impromptu setup somewhere else. We'll see how it goes. But enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your Cinco de Mayo. Put as much salt on the brim of that drink as you can possibly handle. And watch the most Mexican sport of all time, ice hockey. All right, everyone. See you on Monday.